back to the Basement Gun Shop. Tonight, I'd like to talk about concealed carry for women. While I was editing the review I did of Dawn's concealed carry purse from guntotingmamas.com, I really wanted to touch on carrying a concealed firearm for a woman. Unfortunately, the shooting community has been dominated by men. So, men design products for other men. For example, here is a Blackhawk inside the pants holster made for the Springfield XD, and it's a size 12. It wonderfully fits my Glock 29, my Glock 30 SF, my Glock 23 in 40 Smith & Wesson. It is made to sit on my hip and be concealed by nothing more than a sweatshirt. If I take this sweatshirt off the back of my chair, put it on, drape it over my gun, you're not going to see it. I could probably get away with just wearing a t-shirt out like this, and you're not even going to know I'm carrying. I don't have the same body shape as a woman. At least I hope I don't. Women have hips, so that limits them. And let me stop right there for just a second and do a little bit of a disclaimer. If there are any women watching this, and I hope there are, I have friends at work, their wives came to me for instruction. I hope they're watching this. So let's get a few things straight. I'm not saying anything to offend anyone. I'm saying it because that's the way it is. If I use a term that offends you, I apologize in advance. But, you know, hey, I try to mix a little humor in with some things. Maybe sometimes it's a little inappropriate, but guess what? I am not politically correct by any manner, shape, or form. I choose not to be because I truthfully believe that political correctness is killing the American spirit. So, let's move on. Okay, so, women have hips. You know, they come in at the waist, they go out at the hips. I don't know any man who hasn't watched a woman walk by and gone, wow, myself included. So, if she's got a big bulge on that hip, it's going to be noticed. Women dress to be noticed. I'm not complaining at all. So, women have two kinds of carry that they can conceal with. They have on the body and off the body. Off the body carry, your best bet is some kind of concealed carry purse like I got for Dawn. Okay? Dawn is a petite woman. She's only 4'11". And she's got a shape. If she puts something on her waist, someone's going to notice it immediately. If you're a woman on the larger side or built more like a man, you may be able to get away with an inside the pants. The other thing you need to consider is the size of the firearm you're carrying. If you're carrying a full-size Glock or a Glock compact or something like this, this is a very blocky gun. A blocky gun necessitates a larger holster. A larger holster is harder to conceal. It's simple measurements. and you can't get away from it. I wish you could. When I have a number of women students, and usually after the second time, most times after the second time at the range, sometimes after the first time at the range together, they ask me, well, what would be a good holster to get to carry this? And quite frankly, I stop right there and I say, look, the best advice I can give you if you want to carry is go up to my local gun store and talk to Sarah, because Sarah is a petite, blonde, blue-eyed, very attractive young woman who carries. Now, when she's working at the store, she usually has a hoodie on with the name of the store, or a sweatshirt with Glock or Springfield or Smith & Wesson or something to that effect. So if you're wearing something like that, if you're wearing comfy clothes, you can get away with putting something on your hip if it drapes properly around your waist. It's the same principle behind me doing it. You know, the shirt blouses out properly. There you go. You have a good method of carry for that particular gun. If you're carrying something like a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380, a Bersa 380, one of the smaller girly guns, and I say that to be utterly sarcastic in the manner of a girly gun. I carry a Bersa 380 in an ankle holster. I don't consider it girly at all. Okay? But that's kind of like the attitude in the community to some point. I don't consider guns girly. I don't consider guns manly. I've watched women shoot my .44 Magnum. I've had women stop at a 22. I've had men stop at a 22 and not want to shoot anything larger than a 22. I've actually heard a man in a sporting goods store buying 30-06 ammunition say to someone, and this was a pretty beefy guy, he's probably about 5'10", 5'11", 265, 270, big farmer type, say, I wouldn't shoot a 9mm. That's huge. That's bigger than a 30-06. And I stopped and talked to the guy. And no matter what I said to allay those fears, he was like, he was concentrating on 308, 355. That's what he was concentrating on. Okay. No problem. I mean, I didn't consider him less manly or anything else. But, hey, it is what it is. And I really don't like that statement. I want to break down stereotypes, not help them perpetuate. Breaking down stereotypes, especially where women shooters are concerned, is probably one of the most important things, one of the most important roles I play as an instructor. I don't care what your size is, I don't care what your gender is, or your sexual orientation, or your religion. Every person has a God-given right to protect themselves by any means necessary. So, helping a woman do that is one of the best things I can do. So getting back to women and carry. You're limited around here, around your waist. If you move up the body, they actually make holsters that attach to your bra right here and suspend down. Okay, that's a decent way to carry, but again, depending on your size, you know, how far your shirt blouses out when it comes over there, you know, it limits you on what you can carry. Now, if If you have something like an XDS 9mm, a little 3.3-inch barreled 9mm, that would probably work. But then you have to deal with that extra weight pulling down on your shoulders. And that's a decision you have to make. You'd have to try it out. A shoulder holster for a woman is almost impossible. Because let's face it, women have boobies. To draw from a shoulder holster, draw effectively from a shoulder holster, and I really should go get mine and put it on, but I'm not going to run 3 flights up because it's up in the attic. You have to come across like this. So for a woman, guess what gets in the way? Small of the back holster is an inside the pants holster. If you're right-handed and you purchased a left hand inside the pants holster, you get a good vertical ride in the small of your back. Depending on how you dress, that may not be appropriate because it could print. If you're wearing tight-fitting pants that make you look really good, okay, you're not going to want that big bump in the middle coming up here like this. And I'm trying to do this tactfully, but it's so hard. You know, it's so hard. You may not want that big bump in the middle of your waistband. If you're wearing a jacket that covers it, okay, not so much a problem, but you're not always going to be wearing a jacket. Ankle holsters, like I said in my little review on holsters a day or two ago, ankle holsters are probably the slowest, most ineffectual draw on the face of the planet. You are not going to deploy a firearm carried in a shoulder holster in 1 or 2 seconds. That's why it's reserved for backup guns. And like I said before, if that's the only avenue available to you, I would encourage you to avail yourself of that avenue until a better one becomes available. It's no different than getting to Times Square. If Avenue of the Americas is all jammed up, hang a right at MoMA, grab a left on 7th, and head down Broadway. If Broadway's all jammed up, find another route. You know, there's always multiple routes to get to your destination. Yes, I've spent a lot of time in New York City. Great place to visit. Not anymore, but great place to visit. American Museum of History, American Museum of Art, American Museum of Natural History. Just amazing places to take the family, take your kids. Great for the day, but then get the hell out of that communist state and get back to the United States, i.e. Pennsylvania, because God knows democracy doesn't exist east of our border anymore. So, getting back to women and carry. Sorry about all these tangents, they just come up. So, if you're a woman and you're going to carry concealed, you have to consider your options carefully. Like I said, I send people right to my local gun shop and say, talk to Sarah. She can help you better than I can, and probably more tactfully than I can, because I would have to use the word boobies and butt and whatever, and some people will get offended by that, and I don't want to offend someone, because as an instructor, when you get that person out to the range for the very first time, it is an exercise in walking on eggshells. Because if the person may not be afraid of the gun, they might be the natural marksman that makes you jealous to the point of wanting to put all your guns away and never pick them up again. Because they just automatically come up and ding, 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 and they, put 10 rounds in a hole this big at 25 yards with a 22, and you're just open sights, and you're looking at them going, oh, you make me sick. But you have to be so careful of what you say. And I'm not doing it for the sake of political correctness. I'm not being that careful because the NRA says I have to be, or because someone else says I have to be. I'm being that careful because I don't want to give this person who's out to the range for the first time any negative impressions of anything. So usually when a concealed carry discussion comes up with a woman, especially if I've been out to the range with her the first time and she hasn't had to bear the brunt of my full sense of humor, I will send her to Sarah. Even after the second or third time, I'll pretty much send her to Sarah at my local gun shop and say, you know what? Go here, talk to Sarah, she'll hook you up. And I've never gotten a bad report back. So one thing you need to be aware of is, and people don't consider it, people truly don't consider the fact that women have curves. You have cross draw, inside the pants, small of the back holsters, shoulder holsters, ankle holsters, paddle holsters, pancake holsters. You have all these different ways to carry a gun, and nothing is really suited to women with the exception of a purse. And I should really just use my girlfriend as a dress dummy and just start making holsters specifically for women. But you know, I don't really want to be that much into business for myself. Being an instructor, doing Duracoating, a little custom gunsmithing, a little custom builds, and the hydrographic printing, that's enough. I don't need to take on another challenge as well as a full-time job. So I'm happy with doing what I'm doing. And I'm sure you're very relieved to hear that. So, you know, these are the things you have to consider when you're looking to carry a firearm for defensive purposes. The other thing you have to consider is changing your method of dress. It is considered neat to have clothes that fit your body. Or not neat, but professional or sexy, or, well, look at how well that person's dressed. Okay? You may have to augment your method of dress. I've gone to, when I started carrying inside the pants, I went to a lot of shirts that did not need to be tucked in and looked good while they were out. Over a pair of jeans, or what, you know, for everyday wear. Sweatshirts, big deal. Everyday wear, they work great. If you get into the dress environment, it's a whole different story. If I'm wearing a suit and tie, I have the suit coat on. It's not considered out of the ordinary to take the suit coat off, to leave it on, even when you're inside. So I will go with a, I can stay with the inside the pants, but just pull it back a little bit more behind my hip. I tend to carry my gun right on my hip, but if I'm wearing a suit, I can move it back, and that turns the grip in to the back side of my waist a little better. Women can do that too if they're wearing a suit or a jacket. They may not want the bulge or to stretch their pants out or something to that effect. Well, here's the holster that comes with the Springfield Armory XDS. I'm going to go get it, so I'm going to stop the camera for a second and I'll be right back. Alright, as I said, this is the paddle holster that comes with the Springfield XDS 3.39 millimeter. Well, it's got a retention screw in it, so you can clamp it down and make the draw a little harder so the firearm is more secure. With the standard 7-round magazine that comes with the gun that adds absolutely no length to the grip, that would be a very neat little package for a woman. Slip it over the belt. This rides against your body. It holds it very securely, I might add. I have used this on occasion at the range. As I've said numerous times, I'm not big on a hold. I like strong side inside the pants. That's how I carry my guns. That's what I like. But you can see that this is now. Wow, that's okay. There we go. I don't have the retention screw turned down at all. This is exactly how it came from Springfield. But that's still pretty secure. Just sitting there. If I shake it, there we go. The gun does come out. But you could make that even more secure by turning down on that retention screw. So to me, that would be a very neat little package, slid back behind the hip for a woman to carry. Oh boy. That's pretty much it. So if you have any comments or questions, especially the women who may be watching, and I hope there are women who are watching, and I'd like to hear from them, because I want to cover any topic that's important to any shooter. I don't care about gender. So if there are any women, especially if there are women watching, or if there are guys considering how my girlfriend or how my wife could carry this, that, or the other, please leave those questions in the comments. Leave those comments in the comments. And thanks for watching the Basement Gun Shop. I truly do appreciate it. So until next time, stay safe and keep shooting.